What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Toxic Tay with your favorite homegirl, Tay Bay. I don't know about y'all, but this whole process of accountability, awareness, and embracing the better in yourself, like, it's something else. Like, I'm not gonna hold y'all. It is a lot of balance, it's a lot of grace, and it's a lot of patience that really does come with it. Because honestly, as people, we wear so many different hats in life. Like, we're not ever truly just working on one piece of ourselves, because we don't live or operate life just on one rhythm. We don't have just one beat, you know. Most of us are waking up and going to work or going to school. There's some of us that, doing other things. I'm gonna leave it at chasing your dreams. I don't like to get into people personal business like that unless they telling me, then I'm gonna ask questions. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The game of balance, like, it gets so tiring. Because some days it's really like, I don't know about y'all, it's not even a thing of not having the effort to pick yourself or not wanting to pick yourself, being too tired and stuff. Not even a thing of not believing in yourself, not seeing yourself as worthy or worth it. It's just sometimes trying to figure out which piece of yourself to start with. And for me, I've touched on this in a couple of other episodes. Like, my follow through game with life is really not the best. Like, I consider myself a person, jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I'm gonna put my hand in a little bit of everything. And as I'm learning, like, the joy in that, but also, the con to it. Because honestly, as we said last week, a harsh reality that I've had to accept about myself is, I am a person that likes to do a little bit of something, a little bit of everything. And so it's just like, with that, I'm learning, like, I've had to learn how to truly give myself. And in learning myself, like, I've had to admit to things like, I used to be a former people pleaser, which gave into a lot of why I felt like, I was always overgiving. I was always, exhausted in my friendships, exhausted in my relationships, exhausted with my family, exhausted with my work life and stuff. As I'm starting to find this balance with it, to really prioritize myself, like, it's really something that it's just really like, okay, like, God, like, you say the weapons that form against me ain't gonna prosper, but I'm not gonna hold you. Like, if this is what comes with being better, I definitely see why people stay the same. I definitely do. Like, I do think that it hits a point where it's just like, you kind of just feel like, I'm only gonna try but so many times. Like, I'm only gonna put my best foot forward but so many times. But in that, like, you have to remember and we have to embrace, the aspect of every day might not be perfect, but every day is definitely gonna be worth it. And honestly, like, another piece to it that makes the game of balance so hard, and for me too, this stems from also being a former people pleaser. I can't speak for everybody, I can only speak my truth. If you got something you want to say, always, the DMs are open for features. Like, we always looking to have people come on. Like, you think you got something noteworthy to say, come on. You can get on the mic at any time, baby. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Just a little added, just to let you know. Don't know who listening. But, for me, it's definitely has been a thing of just... Sometimes people do not like when you choose to do what's best for yourself. And I don't mean that in a sense of like people are wishing you bad or wishing you malice or anything like that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say people don't like, well, that is the case sometimes. Sometimes people don't like when you choose to embrace the better in yourself, or you choose to, start holding yourself more accountable, and not just accountable in the sense of, correcting your wrongs, but also, having to remove and or, give less to yourself to situations or people, like that right there, like, y'all, as I was saying, it ain't always a thing of malice. I had a friend put it to me one time as, sometimes people are better without you. And that doesn't say anything other than you simply outgrow people in life. Everybody can't grow with you. Everybody can't go with you to the top. And that is perfectly fine and okay. There's nothing wrong with that. While it is heartbreaking to a degree to have to accept that reality, because, it ain't the people that we don't care about like that. It ain't the people that we know just are, side players and stuff in our life or whatnot. It's the people that, you know, that we spend those main character quality time with. You know, those people that had major roles. When you have to outgrow, you know, those friendships that you held on to or had for so long. When you have to outgrow, you know, that relationship that you might have wanted so bad or that you was in for so long. When you have to outgrow, you know, that family member that you wanted to work out and change so bad. When you have to outgrow that job. And, you know, and those things right there, it's not always in the sense of just, you know, you have to remove yourself because they're not good for you. Sometimes you're not good for other people. You know, and that's something that I had to learn as somebody who's a former people pleaser is, you know, sometimes I do more damage to people and myself by giving so much. Like, when you're always there, you always show up for people, like, you definitely can become a safety net. And that's where, you know, you get things like codependency. You get things like, you know, emotional exhaustion. You get things like becoming burnt out. And when you start to learn how to balance yourself out and push yourself first, like, those become the no-goes. Like, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, like, you know, it's at a point now where it's just like, you know, it is truly me or them. And sometimes I have to pick them. I really have learned that. In me learning how to pick myself, sometimes I've had to pick the other person, and not because, you know, picking me would have been wrong or bad or better in that situation. It's actually like, you know, if I would have picked myself and stuff in that situation, if I would have chose, you know, to show up and get more in that situation, I actually was going to hurt that person a little more. I actually might hold that person back from being able to tap into and see their full potential. And that, for me, was a real harsh reality to have to listen, to have to accept. I wouldn't say listen to, but to have to accept about myself. Because, you know, again, on this show, we take accountability. We recognize the things about ourselves that are both good and bad. And while there's always room for improvement, there are some things that they can stay the same. It's okay. It ain't nothing wrong with them. And, you know, it's nothing wrong with wanting the best for people. It's nothing wrong with wanting to show up for people and stuff. There's nothing wrong with being a lover and giver, you know, and me learning how to speak my truth too. And I mean speak my truth in the sense of standing 10 toes in it. And also come with, you know, I had to accept some of the pieces of myself that I haven't been willing to give up. And that means, you know, as I've embraced my self-love, as I embrace, you know, these boundaries and better within myself, and as I just said, like, you know, really learning myself and getting to know me for me, you know, being the problem, we touched on this last week too, like, being the problem, like, it's not always inherently a bad thing. And I think, like, that's where it's like we have to change our language and our dialogue about things, because a lot of the times too, as I'm learning and finding balance with myself, the way that I say and speak about things with myself and I look at them plays into a lot of how I choose to balance it out and act on it. And when you want to embrace yourself for your healthier, embrace yourself for your better and stuff, you definitely cannot do that if you are always looking at yourself as the victim, or B, always looking at yourself as the problem. You should actually always be looking at yourself as the solution, because accountability begins and ends with you. You should know that after you've done all that you can do, say all that you can say, that's all that can be done. And that's not a bad or horrible thing. That just means, you know, you have to give people the opportunity. You have to give them the grace. The same things that you want and are practicing and giving to yourself, you have to give to others and let them make choices and decisions for themselves. And, you know, when it really does come down to learning how to pick and push yourself first, like, that is something that I'm learning that really does come into and play a factor in it. Like, you know, if I had to break down my whole journey so far in self-love, awareness, accountability, I think it happens on like 3 different levels. You know, there's like that first level of where you become aware. You know, that's where you get to know yourself for your good and your bad. You know, and all that comes with that. I don't know how deep y'all are, where y'all at in that process, or if you there or past that phase. And then there's the next level of learning how to become accountable for yourself. And that's when, you know, you have to apply, you have to do and stuff, you know, do better. You know, you're the knowing about it. And then that's the level of the realization. and stuff. And I think that's the understanding that you reach. I think, you know, a lot of times we talk about awareness, we talk about self-love and accountability. They talk about doing better in a sense of just knowing and doing, but there's a big piece of understanding that goes into that. And again, I can only say and speak my truth and how I'm coming to terms and understanding things within myself. And as I just said, like, this month really has been balanced. And, you know, I wouldn't have been able to hit this point with myself while I learned that, you know, loving myself, embracing myself, being accountable for myself, balancing myself out has a lot more to do with my ability to extend grace to myself. You know, my ability to understand and be understanding has a lot more to do with my ability to love and care about myself than it does, you know, me just being aware and accountable for me. And that's simply because, as I said about 4 monologues ago, you know, there's this level of the internal accountability and awareness that we deal with, and the external. And the external really does matter. It really, really does. And so, you know, y'all, as I continue to push this thing out, as I continue to grow and spread my wings, like, I can only talk to y'all as I grow and as I know. And, you know, even when it comes down to, like, the podcast and learning how to balance that out and stuff, like, that's hard. Because a lot of this is built and centered upon me speaking from my real life, my real experiences, the real understandings that I'm coming to terms with. And something that I'm really big on with this show is, you know, really embracing the authenticity that comes behind telling your truth. And I would love to sit here and tell y'all that it's been so easy, or it's been rainbow and sunshines in me doing that. But no, it definitely has been a real process. Ooh. So if y'all don't know, like, I'm working on my timing right now with the podcasting and growing. And one thing that has been brought to my attention is actually I need to work on them being a little longer. I don't know how long this episode is running so far, but, you know, it's going to be somewhere at, I think, maybe 10 minutes, because I believe that's what I set the timer for. And I'm just saying that because, you know, while I want them, I would love to be able to sit here and give y'all 30 minutes of content. I'm going to say that for the Wind Down Wednesdays, because I think myself and my monologue, while it can be entertaining, I just think for one person talking that long, like, you know, wrap it up, sis. But either way it go, like, you know, that goes into another piece of, you know, me having to learn and come to truth about myself, and how, you know, I'm incorporating that into the podcast is, you know, a positive about myself. Some might think it's a negative, is I do talk a lot. Like, for sure. I'm even having to figure out how to balance that out. And so, you know, as we get into this month, you guys, we're coming up on the season finale of Toxic Tay. The Wind Down Wednesdays are definitely going to continue on. I said, this was 2 episodes ago, that I have a segment called The Mic coming in, and I'm so excited about that. Like, it's something special. It's going to be the Wind Down Wednesdays, but with a little flavor in it. But, you know, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that it was a good one. I'm not going to hold y'all. Like, I'm getting to this point as a content creator where I'm having to learn how to be patient with myself, simply because, you know, you can't rush the truth. You know, you can't rush yourself into speaking your truth and, you know, telling your story. You got to let it come. And, you know, I think some of the best places to speak from is, you know, from the heart. From the heart. And also, you know, from the transparency as well. But, again, you can't really speak from the heart if you're not transparent and or vulnerable. Which is why I said that whole birth spell about, you know, Toxic Tay. It's really a growing process with me, y'all. Like, I'm not going to hold y'all. Like, the week that I've been having, pulling together this episode, like, I'm having car problems this week, y'all. Like, that's all I got for you, is I'm having car problems. Like, and, you know, I hate to say it, but that does affect my ability to produce content, like, because as I just said, you know, balance. And while, I'm on here talking to y'all about balancing, you know, yourself, as the focus of the podcast is mental health, self-awareness, telling your truth. Like, it's a lot that goes into that. And a piece of that is, you know, my car. So, with that being said, I hope that y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday. I hope that y'all have a great day. And we'll be back next week with another Wind Down Wednesday. And I'll see y'all. I'm out.